Hey everyone, William Selway here and welcome to Cold Email Lead Sourcing. Now this video is going to be your one-stop shop for sourcing leads specifically to be used with all of the outbound cold email systems within EasyGrow. We're going to show you exactly our flagship Imperium approach to lead sourcing. We're going to break down some database approaches you can use and effectively how to find the best quality leads to be used with your cold email system here in EasyGrow. So without further ado, here's what we are going to cover. We're going to start with the Imperium approach, which is our own unique approach to sourcing leads that you won't find anywhere else. We only teach this in EasyGrow, and it is a method that we have designed through years at this point of trial and error. Trial and error that has allowed us to find a perfectly balanced and very low time consuming approach to finding the best quality leads in every single niche. So we're going to show you exactly how to do that. We're going to break down scraping softwares and databases that you can leverage in order to speed up your process of sourcing leads, and ultimately how to outsource this entire process to virtual assistants so that you're not spending hours every single day managing the lead sourcing process yourself. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight into it. So welcome to lead sourcing. This video is going to show you exactly how to source and clean and verify leads to be used with your cold email system in the program. So there are typically two schools of thought when it comes to sourcing leads for cold email, right? We can either source our own leads or create our own unique approach and effectively find our own unique leads that we can use with our email systems. Or we can leverage an automation software, an online website or database that can automatically scrape leads for us, right? Remember, as you go through this module, the most difficult things often yield the best results, right? And every single cold emailer going through this module has tried going to D7 Lead Finder or Apollo, scraping a bulk list, and then just blasting them using instantly, right? So the issue with relying on an automation software is every single one of your competitors in the same niche as you is doing the exact same, right? Because of this, the leads that you scrape when you're using a database or a scraping tool, it means the leads that you generate are also receiving hundreds of daily emails from your competitors with a very similar offer and a very similar guarantee and very similar stimuli to you. And I've kind of laid that out for you and what this would look like, right? So this little diagram breaks down you at the top here, all of your competitors using the same automated database, and your offer having to weave through all of the noise in order to get to your leads, right? Effectively, you're fighting for exposure when you're using a scraping software, right? If you are using scraping tools, you are effectively opting in and checking the box to have your entire business, offer, guarantee, and stimuli pulled together with every single one of your competitors, right? So no matter how good your offer is, naturally, because these leads are receiving hundreds of cold emails every single day, your offer will be compared to, scrutinized, and grouped together with every other offer they receive in their inbox. No matter how good your offer is or how good your stimuli is, they will still be comparing it because they are being exposed to a lot of cold emails every single day, right? And I'm telling you now, if you go out of your way to create your own unique approach to lead sourcing, you can own your traffic and be in full control of the quality of your leads at all times. And I've kind of visualized this with a little man with a lot of money on top of him with his offer going straight to the leads, right? And these are essentially your leads that you own. You haven't used a scraping tool. You haven't used a database. You've individually found these leads. And it means that when you reach out to these people, they're receiving a lot less cold emails, and we don't really have to be competing for exposure then. Your offer will go straight to the right people, and your open rate, apply rate, and booking rate will just be 2 or 3 times higher than if you are cutting corners and using automation softwares, right? So in this video, I will be showing you how to create your own unique lead sourcing method that will outlive any software, plugin, extension, lead sourcing agency, or any other lead source, and actually allow you to gain full control of your system and the quality of its inputs at all times, right? And we call this the Imperium approach. So the Imperium approach, right? So Imperium's approach to lead sourcing consists of 4 moving parts. Quick note before we even get into this approach is designed for B2B businesses, right? So if you're watching this and you're in a B2C market, or you target a niche that doesn't typically have websites, you will have to leverage one of the automation softwares that I'm going to break down below. So the Imperium approach has been designed for niches primarily in the B2B space where they actually have a website you can use to scrape said email, right? If you're in a B2C market, you can almost not worry too much about this because not many people are actually cold emailing B2C leads, right? So you can effectively get away with using a automation software or a database because it's not really as relevant than than if you were doing B2B, right? So, B2C market, you do have to leverage automation softwares, but just a forewarning here, don't go through this module and start learning how to do it, then realize you're in a niche that you really can't do this for, right? Take the key tenets of what I'm about to teach you, and use an automation software to fill in the gaps of what I miss, right? But essentially, if you're in a B2B business, B2B niche, this will work perfectly, right? So the 4 moving parts of Imperium's approach is, number 1, the hangout area. This is essentially where your niche congregates, right? Next, the extraction point, and this is where you can actually find the data, the email, the owner's name, the company name that you can use to target them, right? Next is scraping, the tools and methods that we use to actually extract the data from the extraction point. And finally, cleaning. This is how we actually verify the emails, make sure they are real emails with a real company and they actually match the company we actually want to target, right? So first things first, the hangout, then the extraction point, then the scraping software, and then the cleaning method, right? The 4 methods are here, okay? So for most niches, the process of extracting here, scraping here, and cleaning here is identical, right? And these will be done using the following process. So the extraction point for almost all of you watching this video right now will be the prospect's website, okay? For the scraping section, we will just use a standard scraping tool. We recommend snov.io. We'll show you how to use that later. And for cleaning, this will be just generally like a email verifier, like a cleaning tool to make sure the emails are valid. And for this, we recommend Million Verifier, right? The only real part of the Imperium approach that you will have to tweak for your niche is the hangout area. This is exactly where your niche congregates, where you can find them the easiest and where they spend the most time, where they pull together online so that you can go there, find them, and then go to the website scraping tool and cleaning tool, right? So for most niches, the only variable that you will actively have to find for yourself is the hangout area, right? So I've dropped some hangout examples below. So if you're targeting, for example, agency owners, coaches, or consultants, LinkedIn Sales Navigator is the number 1 place that these guys will hang out. Similar to this, if you're in the gym niche, Instagram works well. Chiropractors, Yellow Pages, home improvement, BBB, that's Better Business Bureau, or House.com. Restaurants, Yelp works extremely well, or real estate, you can use Zillow if you're in the US, or Rightmove if you are in the UK, right? So the Imperium approach, just an example of this. I'm going to use agency owners because it's who we target the most and what I've got the most experience with. So for agency owners, the hangout area will be LinkedIn Sales Navigator here. Next, we'll go from LinkedIn Sales Navigator, where we'll find a big list of marketing agencies. Then we'll go to the individual website of the marketing agency. Then we will scrape it using Snovio, and we'll get all the emails, and then we'll clean the emails here using Million Verifier. So it's LinkedIn Sales Navigator, website, Snovio, cleaning tool, right? Very straightforward, right? Cool. So the Imperium approach, these are the steps that you need to take to build this out. First things first, we're going to dive into the hangout area where your niche actually congregates. So the first thing we need to do is find the place where your prospects or your niche can be found the quickest and at scale. It really is simple, guys, right? It's just as simple as finding out what social media platform your niche uses or what online directories your niche is on, if any, right? So I've dropped some examples here. For most of the people watching this video right now, your niche will be on one of the following. It'll be LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Yellow Pages, Google Maps, BBB.com, Yelp.com, House, Nextdoor, or Zillow, right? But obviously every single niche will congregate in different places, okay? So if you're watching this video right now and it's not in one of the examples shown here, you will have to use the knowledge of your niche to identify the most reliable way of finding your niche and then just infiltrate that to source the leads, right? Every single niche, every single person watching this video will have a different niche that will be in a different place, right? For example, gym owners, right? They're typically active on Facebook, Instagram, and Google, but they do not use LinkedIn. The same goes for agency owners. They typically have LinkedIn and Facebook, but you will not find directories of marketing agencies on Google. So pause the video now, have a think to yourself, where does my niche hang out? And where can I find a big list of example prospects that are perfect for me and infiltrate from there, right? That's the first step. So pause the video now. First step I would do is go to social media, because you've probably got a really good bet going on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. If you're in more of a brick and mortar business, maybe the niche you're targeting is B2C, then Google Maps will work extremely well. Then aside from that, there is obviously like niche specific directories. Yelp.com is great. House is great for restaurants. Nextdoor, Zillow are great for real estate. Pause the video now, find the place where your niche hangs out the most, and go from there, essentially, right? So once you found out where your niche hangs out online, the next step is to do find the extraction point, right? So after you found what platform you'll be using to find the leads, you need to figure out where you can extract the data from the individual leads, okay? So across most niches, I've already kind of covered this, but this can be done using their website. If you can't find their website, you can do a Google search or locate their social media, right? So the way you find a leads website is different from niche to niche. The main thing here is just finding a reliable method of getting from the platform where your niche can be found at scale to the website of the individual leads. So to give you an example here, let's say we use LinkedIn as an example. Let me just open up and log into a random account here. If I come to Sales Navigator, just search for marketing agency, I can find hundreds of marketing agencies that are ideal fits for my business. On the other hand, let's say we're working in real estate. I can go to nextdoor.com. Not nextdoor.com, sorry. I can go to Zillow.com and just put in, for example, like let's just put my current location in here. Let's just do a London-based postcode. Just come to anywhere, and I can find examples of houses that are on the market and the people who are actually contacting them, right? And straight away find this and find their website, right? So if I'm working in real estate, this could be a really, really good method for finding my ideal leads, right? Another example here, let's say I go to Google Maps and I want to search for gyms. Let's go ahead and search gyms here. Just come here and I can go from the Google map to their website relatively easy, right? So it's just a simple case of finding where your niche is advertising themselves online and find the easiest way possible to get to their website, okay? Throughout this video, I'll be using LinkedIn Sales Navigator as an example. So let's just go ahead and just grab a random person from here and open up their website. Cool. So it really is as simple as that. What I've just shown you just then, you just find where they congregate and find the easiest way possible to get to that person's website. Next, the exciting part, this is actually scraping the data. How do we go from a random social media profile to a website here to, a lead's email, to their owner's name, to everything like that? Well, we use a scraping tool to do this, right? And we use a scraping tool to scrape the email of the prospect, the owner's name, the company name, and then an optional step is to find their social media or to find their phone number, right? So the number one thing that we need to find is the email. And this will be the first thing that you source for every single one of your leads here, okay? So finding the email is the initial thing we source, as the rest of the process is irrelevant without an email address, right? And to find the email address, we have a 3-step process, and this works 99% of the time. If you can't find the email after doing these 3 steps, just move to the next lead. Honestly, if you can't do it on these 3 steps, it's not worth it. It's not worth the time. Just move on to the next one, okay? So the fastest way of finding a lead's email is by using a scraping software. And I know at the beginning I said you don't use scraping softwares. This is just a email extraction extension, right? It just allows us to find any email associated with this website here very, very quickly, right? So every tool that you can use has its pros and cons, and some tools obviously work better in some niches than others. Honestly, if you're watching this video, I recommend you try a few different tools, because I find, for example, with me, Snovio, the example here, works really well in the gym space, in the agency space, but when I was using it for gyms, it didn't really work that well. And I found that Contact Out worked a lot better specifically for the gym niche. Okay, so honestly, I recommend trying a few of these here. We do recommend Snovio because it's like a general, blanket, probably the best one you can use, as it normally gives the best results and gives the most emails. But it is honestly best to filter through a few different ones, just in case there is one that works different or works better for your specific niche. Okay, you do get free credits with all of these signups here, so go ahead, just sign up to all of them, test them. Whichever one from the first 50 or so leads you source has the best quality emails and has the most emails when you scrape it, that's going to be the one that you should use moving forward, right? So to download Snovio, just come to the website here. I'm gonna have to copy and paste this because the link isn't working. And you want to go ahead and just sign up here, right? When you sign up, there'll be a few different plans that you can sign up to. It's going to cost you around $30 a month for the simple, easiest plan. If you want more emails, I think up to 10,000 a month, you can pay a little bit more. But for around 2,000 to 3,000 emails a month, it'll be about 30 to 40 bucks, which is relatively cost effective for the service that it gives you. Okay. The main thing you want to do is make sure that you are installing the Chrome extension. So just go ahead and add this to Chrome here by clicking on the add extension, install for website, come into the Chrome extension and just adding it on at the top here, right? I recommend pinning it just for easy access. Now what this does is, now when you actually open up the website, if you click on Snovio, it will just automatically search for every single email that was used in the creation of this website and that is currently being shown on the website. The great thing about using an email extraction tool like this is it won't only just show the emails that are on this page, right? So if I go to Explore and obviously come to Contact, sometimes these spaces will show email addresses, right? And for example, on this page, all we've got is sayhello@brave.agency, right? Now, obviously, if you just rely on this, you're only ever going to go through to the company address, which is probably going to be managed by a gatekeeper, and it's probably going to, they're not even going to check it. It's probably going to be receiving a lot of marketing agencies. If you use automation softwares, this is what it's going to give you. The benefit of doing the Imperium approach is Snovio has found us Tony, Xian, Talent, Payments, Team.tech, Gareth, Ben. For example, Payments, like receiving a cold email there, it's going to go through to a decision maker straight away. So this is the benefit of using a email extension tool like this to find your leads, right? And you can replicate this process over and over again and find the best quality leads specific to the lead you're looking for, right? So very, very highly recommend this. Now, I'm not going to go through Hunter, Contact Out, and Lusher because, they all relatively do the exact same thing. It's just, I find from niche to niche, some of these may work better than others. If you want just the best one, just use Snovio. It's what I've used, what all my team uses. Just recommend it, right? We're not affiliated, by the way. We don't get any kind of, we don't get incentive for promoting it. It's just a great software, right? So if the email scraper doesn't work, sometimes you will go on here and you'll scrape it with Snovio and nothing will come up. We do have a few other methods that you can use in order to find emails. If you want to make this process as simple as possible, just scrape it using Snovio. And if you can't find a email after you've scraped it using Snovio, just move to the next lead, honestly, because the method I'm about to show you now can be a bit time consuming. If you do outsource this to a virtual assistant, it kind of can be worth it, but truthfully, like if it's not on the email scraper, you're just going to get the owner's, you're not going to be getting the owner's email, so it's best just to stay focused on the just using this. If it's not on Snovio or one of these email extensions, just move to the next lead. But regardless, I'm going to show you just in case you do find a perfect lead and you do want to know the email for them, right? So the next step is to do Control F plus search. Now this is a really, really cool little tip, right? If you don't know what Control F does, it allows you to just search for any word on this document. For example, if I search email, it comes up with 31 different instances in which email is mentioned. What we can do with this Control F function is we can actually search for the @ symbol, okay? Because obviously every single email on a website will have, name@company.com. And if we just use the Control F to search for this specific character on the website, it will just show us immediately every single time that an email is shown, right? So to do this, just come to the website and just simply go Control F and search for @, and it will show us all the emails. For example, here we have one. If you press the down arrow, it will do more. We have another one here. Oh, that's not an email. Then we have another one here. another say hello, right? The negative of using this is obviously it's only going to give you the ones that are active on the website, so you're not going to always get the owner's name, but you know, if you do want to reach out to this person, you do have an email available, right? Now I do recommend switching between the pages because obviously it's only ever going to show the page you're on. If you just come to a different page here, for example, let's go to portfolio and do the same, search for yeah, nothing comes up, right? So yeah, just leverage that if you do find a perfect lead. You also want to repeat this process for Google, okay? Because sometimes if you just search for the company name that we're targeting plus email and then do the control F search, we can find a bunch of emails that aren't showing up on the website, right? It will effectively search all the Google results for that @ symbol, and you can use that @ symbol to identify emails, right? So to do this, just open up a new tab and just search for the company name you're targeting, and then I like to add email. This is an optional extra. So for example, here we have Brave Agency. If I come to here and search Brave Agency, right? Sometimes I like to add email here just on top of it, just in case, because sometimes it can show up. But what I can do is go here and search for @, and it will immediately give me all of the instances where this is mentioned. You can see already, I've already found Jane at Brave Agency. If I come to Snovio, does Jane show up? No, Jane doesn't show up. So I've already found an extra email that isn't showing up on Snovio, okay? And you can do this by just going page to page, like so, and it'll just show all the emails for this page. Okay, again, we found 2 more, say hello and first. Obviously, I think this is a slightly different company here, but you can see the power behind it. You can use Control F to find emails that aren't necessarily shown on, you know, Google normally, right? Nice little tip you can use here, okay? And the final thing, if you can't find it on the email scraper and you can't find the email on the Control F search, you can use something called an email permutator, okay? Now an email permutator, to make it as simple as possible for you to understand what it actually does, it essentially creates a bunch of combinations of what a prospect's email could potentially be. It just uses like a random algorithm and just gives you, you know, the common occurrences of what this email could potentially be. All we have to do is go to an email permutator online, add the first name of the owner, the last name of the owner, the domain, and it will just generate 30 random email addresses. And it's got quite a good hit rate. Sometimes it can just find a good email for that person, okay? Now this does require you knowing the owner's name, okay? So I'm going to show you a method here to find the owner's name. So if you want to know how to do that, just keep watching this video. But we're going to go forward as if I know the owner's name. If you're using social media, obviously you already have the owner's name, so that works quite well. Okay. So go to an email permutator. We recommend Mail Meteor. If you come to this website here, for example, let's take the example we're using. Let's go to Brave Agency. I can't remember the person we clicked on to find this. So let's just go ahead and use Spencer as an example here. Lift Conversions Digital Marketing Agency. Okay. What you want to do is take the first name and last name of the prospect. So we'll go Spencer Wade. Spencer, if you're watching this video, for example, you sign up with us. Apologies for using you as an example. Take the name of the company. So we know that if I go to website, it is liftconversions.com. Copy, put this into the permutator. We want to remove all this stuff, just have the blank domain.com and generate email addresses. And what it's done is just gone ahead and just generated the possibilities of what this could be. Now, the way we verify whether or not these are real, we come to copy to clipboard, and you want to go ahead and open up Gmail and draft a new email. I'm going to pause the video quickly and open that up. Okay, so I've just opened up a random draft email. You want to go ahead and paste the emails into here, right? Now, if we have a valid email here, it will be identified by either a profile picture or it will come up as a little brown head and shoulders man. But as you can see here, nothing's actually coming up. So right now we're not finding anything. If we come to Lift Conversions and use Snovio, let's see if we can find the real email here. So we have a few here. Obviously, Spencer doesn't have his own. Yeah, he's labeled as CEO at liftconversions.com. So this is why this one isn't working here, right? But essentially, if you find a valid email here, it will show as the person. So let me go ahead and try and find an example here of one that's actually worked. Okay, so I just did another example here. What I've done is just used another one from another prospect from Sales Navigator. And what I've done is straight away found a email with a profile picture, okay? And this tells me, because it's got a profile picture, that it is a real account. So we can go ahead and send to that, right? Essentially, if it's blue, it doesn't exist. If it's brown, it's an account but without a profile picture. But the best way to identify it is just knowing that it's got a profile picture there, right? So we've already found a valid email by using the email permutator method. It can be very useful if you want to use it. Again, obviously, I highly recommend just using the scraper. Only use the Control F or the email permutator if you have a VA running this whole system for you, or it's just a perfect lead and you really want to know who that person is. Okay, cool. So next, scraping the owner's name, right? So for most people, if you're using social media, you're going to know who the ooner is, but sometimes you may be using a database like Google Maps. I had a hard time finding gym owners' names because I used to use Google Maps to scrape, right? So if you're using an online database but it doesn't actively say this is the owner, we will need to find the owner's name, okay? So there is a 4-step process here that we can leverage in order to find the owner or the decision maker for the business, okay? And we do this by first going to the website and searching for relevant pages that may say who the owner is, using a Google search, using the company filing, or using social media. Okay, so the first step is to open up their website and look for either an About Us, Our Story, or Contact Us page, right? So to do this, I'm just going to go to a random gym in London. Okay, so I've just opened up a random gym in London called Fit East London, right? And what we can do is open up their website and look for either an About Us, Our Story, or Contact Us page, right? A lot of businesses will just tell us who the owners are right away. They're doing it to try and create a community feel and let their customers know who actually runs the business. A lot of people do this, right? And sometimes an owner's name can just pop up there. It can also be mentioned on the homepage. So if I come to this website here, and let's just go through it. Straight away we found we are Ben, Mel, and Enor. We know exactly who the owner is, right? So straight away we know we have potentially 3 decision makers, one called Ben, one called Mel, and one called Enna. Obviously if we come to Snorv, we should be able to find, no, email's not found anything there. That's cool. The next thing we can do is do a Google search, right? And we can do a Google search for the business name plus owner, okay? Sometimes they will post articles, or there will be articles written about the business, or there'll be links to other platforms where the owners mention their business, right? Google is very, very smart. And if the owner has any kind of online presence or online trail, tying them to the business that you're trying to target, it will show up, right? So let's ignore the fact that it tells us it's Ben here. Let's just do Fit East London owner. Okay. Straight away we found Ben, Adam, Harry. We know that that is the name of the owner, so that works. Company profile here, Mr. Ben, Adam, Harry, Stewart. Straight away. We've also found a website here. That's not going to work though. Essentially, Google will just show you straight away if there is an owner here. Okay, so it can be very good, very, very useful to leverage just a straight Google search to find this. And the final thing you can do in order to find a business name, if it's like a genuine, like verified business, and you're targeting them in the UK or the US, they are, governed by law to tell everyone who their owner is. So you can use like a business government registry website. Like for example, in the UK, we use a thing called Companies House. You can actually use Companies House to just find out very quickly who the owner is, right? So for example, I've just searched Fit East London owner. If I come to gov.uk, straight away I found 3 owners, Melissa Harbritter, Ben Swart, and William Brown. Okay, and straight away I know that it's Ben, Mel, and Enor. So I know we've got 2 decision makers here. It's just a case of tying the owner's name now to the prospect, right? So for most people, honestly, like you'll be able to find it on their website on the Google search. If not, you've almost got a 100% hit rate going to Companies House in the UK, or if in the US, I'm not exactly sure what the website's called, but there will be a website for most companies where you can do that. If you can't find the owner's name, you can just address them as the company name, or address them as like hey there, or hey friend, or something to that effect. If you have the email, as a rule of thumb, I would still go ahead and target that person, right? So once we have all the data, add it into the CRM you're going to be using, and then just continue to the next step, okay? Now, finally, we need to clean these leads, okay? So we've got a list of emails that we want to use. The next step is to actually clean them to make sure that they're real and they're not going to bounce, essentially. So in this step, we use a verification tool to verify the email actually exists so that we can email them, right? The main thing we want to prevent here are email bounces. Now, email bounces can be awful for, hitting the spam box. If you have a high bounce rate, essentially your emails are going to go straight to spam. So we want to minimize the occurrences of that happening as much as possible. The only reason your email bounces is if the email just isn't valid that you're sending to. So this is a very crucial step, and you need to make sure this is done right? So we recommend a platform called Million Verifier, okay? Now, Million Verifier allows you to essentially verify emails at scale, and it's by far, the best email verification tool that I've ever used. I'll be honest with you, it's just fantastic. I've used hundreds of different things like Never Bounce, Email Hippo, things like that, but Million Verifier is the best in class, so I highly recommend signing up to this, plus it's the cheapest. So yeah, Million Verifier is going to be the one for you. To do this, what you want to do is go to Million Verifier and create an account, go to Email Verifier and upload your leads. So you can see here, we are on email verification, and you want to upload your list. Now you can do this in a few different ways. You can upload it as a CSV if you're using a CRM. You can paste the list of emails in here like this. You can put a single email. It's up to you how you do it, right? So for example, let's go to Brave Agency quickly, that one that we were using earlier. Bit dangerous opening up my full history here, but I'm sure we'll be safe. Let's open up Brave Agency. Where is it? Here we go. Let's find that email that we got earlier. What we want to do is go ahead and take Tony at Brave Agency and copy it like so and paste it into Million Verifier and verify. Now it'll tell us immediately whether it's good, bad, risky, or whatever, right? Let's try and find an instance. In fact, let's just put a random email in here. Let's just put tony@.com. If we verify this, it straight away tells us it's bad, right? This means the email doesn't exist, because obviously it's just a random email here, right? So as a rule of thumb, there's a 3-step grading system, right? If you get good, or it's green, it means it's safe to send to. The email exists, it's got all the records set up, and you're going to be absolutely fine sending to it, right? Sometimes you will get a risky email, right? Now, risky emails are generally safe to send to. If you've got a big lead list and you've got plenty of good emails to send to, I would avoid risky almost entirely, but you can use them. I personally have used them myself, but if you want the number one most optimal deliverability and you don't want to take the risk, then just send it good. Then finally we have bad for instances like this. Bad just means the email doesn't exist. Remove them from the list and do not send them, okay? So another cool thing that Million Verifier does is it actually scans for duplicates, right? So if you go ahead and upload a big file list here and add it in, it will automatically remove any duplicates that you've added to this list, and it can be very useful. You don't want to be emailing these people twice, so use that tool, right? That's how Million Verifier works. I'm not going to walk through how to upload the CSV because you're all pretty sufficient at running an online business. You should know how to do that, so I'll leave that up to you to figure out how that is. It's literally just select a file and upload it that way. It's pretty straightforward, right? So once you've verified the list, download it to your CRM/automation software. And guys, that's as simple as I can put it. That is the Imperium approach when it comes to sourcing leads. And I promise if you use this method that I've just shown you, you're going to completely own the traffic. Your offer is going to get through and actually resonate with the prospect. And you're going to get much better open rates, reply rates, and booking rates than if you're using automation softwares. Now, obviously, I am going to run through some automation softwares here because I truly feel like I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't at least show you what we recommend, right? Now, there are a bunch of automation softwares and scraping tools that you can leverage. Proceed with caution because truthfully, doing it the manual way is always going to be best. We can outsource the manual way to virtual assistants that I'll show you later in this video. But truthfully, like as I said right at the beginning, the most difficult thing will almost always yield the best results. And doing anything that you can in 2025 or 2026 and onwards to separate yourself from your competitors is going to just give you a massive ROI on the effort you're putting into this, right? However, if you do wish to automate the process above, you can do it via software. So as stated above, this will have a negative effect on the KPIs. However, it's cheaper and more efficient, right? So I have ran tests to both automated leads from a database and manual leads using the Imperium approach that I've sorted, and the metrics were around 30% better when scraping them myself. And if you're sending 100 leads, you know, that is going to be a massive difference to the booking rate. Essentially, you can book, you know, in 30% more leads. So if you're booking 5 appointments over 100 cents, you're going to book an extra 1 to 2 appointments per day by just putting good leads into the system, right? Garbage in, garbage out. Remember that. If you put garbage into the system and you're not checking the leads and you're just scraping from a software, it's not going to work. You do need to take the time with every step in an outbound system to control the variables to make sure your system is running effectively, right? So there are a lot of softwares out there. And I'm just going to run through the popular ones here. We have ListKit and we have Apollo. These are just by far the best ones. You know, as a general rule of thumb, if you're going to be using a scraping software, you need to either be using ListKit here or using Apollo here. These are just the 2 best in class. This is what most people use, but you know, the amount of leads they have on these databases just are head and shoulders above. So if you are going to use automation softwares, which I know some of you are going to do, use Apollo or use ListKit. They're by far the best from my testing, right? Little tip here, if you do want Apollo a lot cheaper, Apollo is quite expensive. It costs around $30 for 1,000 leads. If you use something called Magically Genius, this scraper here, you can actually go to the Apollo database, which I can't find right now. I'll put the proper link in here. Essentially what you can do is just copy and paste the hyperlink from Apollo when you're sourcing leads into Magically Genius and get it for $4 for 1,000. So it's like a, you know, 80% reduction in price. So I highly recommend using Magically Genius. I'll pop in the proper link before we go ahead and launch this module. And also A-Leads does the exact same. It's the exact same thing. You essentially just pop in the hyperlink from Apollo into this site here, and it'll just get you, you know, leads for cheaper, right? A very, very good tool that you can leverage. Other things include Phantom Buster, BBB.org, Lead Carrot, D7, Store Leads, Book Your Data, and Built With. Again, I'm not going to go through all of these because it would probably take me the next 4 hours to run through them, but they're all good. Have a play around with them. If you are going to use a scraping software, just please make sure you leverage the individual keywords and the individual search parameters, because the more niche down you get with these automation softwares, the better results you will get overall. Right? So have fun with it. Again, recommend ListKit and recommend Apollo, but it doesn't mean that you can't play around with other lead sourcing methods in order to find what works best for you. Okay, cool. And the final thing we're going to cover here is how to hire virtual assistants, right? So the entire system that I've outlined above, as you're probably thinking right now, hey, Will, like this is great, but this is going to take me about 6 hours a day. I hear you, right? This whole process is designed to be outsourced to virtual assistants. Virtual assistants in the Philippines and Bangladesh and India, in which we pay $3 an hour or 10 cents per lead to, right? As I said, doing this yourself manually takes time, and time is obviously money, right? So if you want actionable items on how to actually get this implemented right now, the next step after watching this video is to go out and build your own Imperium approach. Just find 50 to 100 leads and just find a really good outlined approach. Test the leads, make sure the leads are good quality and you're getting good results, and then outsource this whole thing to virtual assistants. Just give them this exact training video or give them the SOP that you can build out for them and teach them how to do this for you. And you can pay, you know, up to $10 a day for all your email leads to be sent out, right? If you're booking like even 2 or 3 appointments a day and converting one of them, that's a huge ROI, right? So recommend building out your own unique approach to lead sourcing and then outsource this entire process to a virtual assistant to manage for you. Now, if you do want to get a full in-depth training on how to hire Terminator Loom VAs, just come to this resource here, or alternatively, you can go to school and go to Classroom, Outbound Systems, and Terminator Looms, and the exact same video is down here, hiring Terminator Loom VAs and Terminator Loom SOPs. Essentially, this document that I've linked here is this one right here, okay? And it'll break down exactly how to hire VAs for your system, okay? So everyone, thank you for watching. That was lead sourcing for cold email systems in EasyGrow. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, pop them into the community and tag me, William Selway, and I'll see you all in the next video.